Unsettled, as you probably guessed. And you probably read the title of this video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm correct. Yeah. So this title is obviously we're going to be discussing Harry Houdini.
Nice.
I guess the mysterious death of Harry Houdini, if we want to get technical about it, but we will discuss the death of Harry Houdini. Know a lot about him?
I know he's a famous escape artist.
That's good enough. That's probably all you guys know. So, if you're new, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment below if you want us to talk about a case, delve into a case, discuss a case, give our opinions on one. I sound like an ad. And what's the last bit?
Hit the notification bell for all up and coming videos in the future.
I'm going to stop trying to sound like a commercial to everyone now.
And come on down to 2 nights a week, $4.99 only. Sorry, I was just,
I'm not that
got
cheap.
carried away.
I'm not that cheap.
I was just thinking of our Patreon page, the Unsettled. Anyone, literally anyone.
So as you said,
Don't care if even it's a penny, it's something.
give us your pennies. You shouldn't put in an Indian voice when I ask for money.
Anyway, Harry Houdini.
So yeah, Harry Houdini is obviously the world's famous magician / escape artist.
Mm-hmm.
His death has caused some speculation over the years.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people questioned his death.
Yeah.
But obviously he died. Like, there's no faking his death.
No.
He actually...
Many people have fake death in magician shows.
Yeah.
But this is not one of them.
And if you want to see some of his, I don't know, his escape videos, we'll play one. So after you all were dazzled by that magical clip. So yeah, for over 30 years, Harry Houdini had dazzled audiences with his stunts.
Mm-hmm.
I guess his superhuman endurance as well. You're going to be like, eh? Yeah, well, I'll tell you. He had some muscles for the stature of this man.
Yeah.
So he was built, should we say? Not built like a brick shit house. He was just built. He was just built.
He was a well-statued man.
Exactly. He would jump off bridges handcuffed and wearing metal leg chain things, and he'd managed to get out of them very quickly.
Yeah.
He slithered out. Slithered.
Yeah,
we go with slithered.
He slithered out.
He slithered out of sealed milk cans filled with water.
Mm-hmm.
So he could do some contortion as well, I guess.
You would expect.
And devised the Chinese water torture cell, in which he was submerged and suspended upside down by his ankles with a healthy dose of trickery and sleight of hand. His tricks still had risks.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I believe the magician's circle.
Yes, London. Check it.
They did sanctify the trick, but you've got to be like an advanced magician to actually. Okay, yes, you can do this. Like,
so you got to be good with your hands.
And not just sleight of hand.
Fastest hands in Kent. So in 1915, Houdini nearly suffocated during a stunt in which he was shackled and buried in 6 feet of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first guy, I think, to do the buried alive thing.
Yep.
Right.
Or one of them, at least.
Yeah. So he made a career surviving the impossible, which made his death more mysterious in 1962. The 52-year-old performed to a packed house in Detroit on October the 24th. He was later rushed to hospital with a case of apparent appendix. Apparent appendicitis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got an apparent appendix.
Apparent appendix.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day.
He died a week later on Halloween.
Oh.
I knew you'd like that bit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hallows Eve.
But on October the 11th, 1926, while performing, he was struck on the leg by a piece of faulty equipment. He carried on the show and later suffered a fractured ankle. Like, this guy was dedicated to his craft.
He carried on the show with a fractured ankle.
He cared about his audience, you could tell. Right. Houdini, by this point, had proven so many people wrong, claiming that Ouija boards don't work.
Mm-hmm.
He would go about his way to exploit people, but not because he was an arsehole.
No.
Right? Just
he wanted to prove a point.
Proved people wrong and hated seeing people conned out of money.
He wanted the mysticism there,
yeah,
but he wanted to then explain it.
In my eyes,
roughly.
He comes across like he wants to be the only man that could do magic tricks.
Mm.
Right. He had proved mediums wrong and made points of exposing such trickery. He'd also released books on these as well, which he gathered quite a lot of money for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he was, I guess, a very clever man. He knew how things worked, superstitious wise, or what people would believe is like magic.
Yeah.
So he did, like I said, he did do sleight of hand, but I think his main goal was to just show that he had ways of getting out of things, like
whatever situation
his
you
escape
put me in, I can get out
his
of it.
escape artist technique was on par. I don't think
But
anyone
it's like using reverse psychology though as well, isn't it? It's like all right, you tie my hands and feet together.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get out of it.
Yeah.
And I know how to get out of everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay. So you try and
You
tie it
think you
as
can get
tight
out of
as you can, but he's holding his arms over and blah blah blah.
It's not like he's conning the audience. He's just showing, look, don't waste your money on this shit. Come see my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite,
I can do it better than everyone.
yeah. I've got a funny I don't know. I guess I got a funny story right now, which is kind of funny and shows his character. So, Houdini lost his mother Cecilia. He went to a spiritualist medium and paid good money to speak to her. Right?
Okay.
Again,
As many people have.
yeah. He decided, say, if life ever existed, like life after death existed, he was going to find out. Right?
Okay.
So Houdini.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah. But listen to this. Houdini, at the time, was friends with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes writer. Right. Yeah.
I can see where this is going.
They shared a conversation. Right. Arthur's wife said she could contact Houdini's mother, so the silence was set. Right. Houdini sat in the silence while Arthur's wife began automatic writing.
Yeah.
You get the idea?
Yeah.
Right. From Cecilia beyond the grave. Apparently. Right. Houdini sat for over a few hours while Arthur's wife wrote things down, allegedly from Cecilia. Houdini was handed the piece of paper at the end, and at the end of it he shouted, "Farce!" Right? And he shouted this for a reason. Arthur's wife was confused. Houdini looked at the paper and said, "My mother never spoke English, nor could she ever write it." So he kind of lost his friendship with Sir Conan Doyle.
Yeah,
Right.
I can see why.
Afterwards, Houdini and his wife spoke. Houdini said, "If life after death is present, and I die before you, I shall contact you from beyond the grave." He's trying to make a point.
Yeah.
He's like, literally, I'm proving you wrong. He would actually go, you know them tabletop things? He'd go there and go, "Oh, there's a wire, there's a wire."
He would prove people
He's an
wrong.
asshole. So, Houdini wanted to believe there was life after death, right? But he couldn't process it. And in the process of doing so, he would prove mediums and other psychics wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so he upset a lot
A
of the
lot of
community.
people, yeah. I can imagine getting a few
I like it.
Death threats from the magical community.
He usually had so many hexes on him. So, while Houdini, against doctors' orders, carried on performing and travelling with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so he had acute appendicitis, or whatever it was called.
Yeah, acute appendicitis.
He travelled to Montreal, where he gave a lecture at the university.
Mm-hmm.
Right. On October 22nd, he invited students to visit him in his dressing room at the Princess Theatre. The kids all enjoyed Houdini's show, wanted to speak to him, see his sleight of hand. You get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Then a student named J. Gordon Whitehead asked Houdini, "Is it true you can resist hard stomach punches?"
Oh, right in the appendix.
Houdini was, as I said, very built
Maybe
up.
that's how he got his acute appendicitis.
Possibly. He was a very built up bloke and said, "Yes, I can." So with that, Whitehead kid
punched him full pelt in
delivered,
the appendix.
delivered 5 terribly forced, well-connected blows to Houdini's stomach. Right. Which Houdini took. Later that night, Houdini complained of stomachache.
I wonder why.
Yeah. He carried on his tour, but after more shows, his stomach became worse.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't stop the shows despite cold sweats, fatigue, temperature. And, and he had a temperature of 104 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was hot. Don't keep that in. Right.
His appendix is probably about this big, man.
Probably. The doctor said you may have appendicitis, yet Houdini carried on. He struggled that evening and collapsed immediately behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That would be Houdini's last show. And we're going to cue another magic trick for you fans out there.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I want you to repeat after me just how I do it. Ready? Your turn. Very good. Go ahead now. Good golly. Bring it around now. Ladies. Good golly.
Glad you enjoyed that. So he was taken to Detroit Hospital and prepped for surgery. Doctors removed his appendix, but it had ruptured several days earlier. Ooh. Questionable. And began poisoning him. Despite a grim prognosis, the magician clung to life until the 31st of October, when he died with his wife and his brother at his side.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Houdini's official cause of death was caused by a ruptured appendix. At the time, his family believed it was due to J. Gordon, yet such cases of traumatic appendicitis are extraordinarily rare. So basically what we're trying to point out is you wouldn't
be able to
get it from a punch.
From 5 punches.
Yeah. Very rare. If so, Houdini is much like Edgar Allan Poe, and troubled and loves tragedy. Right. So it seemed that maybe the punches didn't kill him. Which would make sense.
Well, you can tense your stomach muscles to
I better not. I've got bad stomach.
To withstand punches.
Yes.
Like obviously he's a well-stocked gentleman, so he's not exactly. He's gonna tense every time you can see the punches.
And not being funny, from a little kid.
And that's not going to rupture an
student.
appendix.
It's like a 14-year-old trying to punch you saying, "Did that hurt?"
Yeah, it's not going to rupture an appendix.
No, they did say it was very rare for that occurrence to ever happen. I mean, nowadays, if you got your head kicked in, you still wouldn't suffer a ruptured appendix.
No.
Right, so speculation arose when the family looked at his death with suspicion. See, Houdini had made a lot of enemies and made sure he exposed many spiritualists, which resulted in him going to courts and making a lot of money out of them because they were frauds. Right. Back then, spiritualists would secretly poison their enemies, and with no autopsy done on Houdini, it left many to wonder.
Very true.
Right. Had he upset the spiritual community so much so they set out on revenge, like, towards him?
It's not unheard of. It's definitely not unheard of.
Like Houdini would love exposing these people in front of crowds to make it worse, to hinder their actual career of being a con man or a con woman. So he made sure he did it with an audience.
Yeah.
Like an arsehole.
A very lovable arsehole.
So was Jay Gordon told to attack Houdini and told where to hit?
Where to hit?
That would take some skill from a shitty little student kid.
True.
Right. To this day, no one is sure, and while Houdini's record says appendicitis, the other record remains somewhat unsettled for this. Right.
Okay.
His wife held seances for over 10 years to try and contact her husband. He promised her...
He's not dead!
He promised her if life after death was real,
he
contact
would try
her.
to contact her.
He never has.
But that doesn't disprove that it's
Shut
not.
up.
I'm just saying.
It's Houdini.
It doesn't...
It's Houdini.
It doesn't disprove that it's not real. I'm just saying.
It does. His name's Houdini. He proved everyone wrong. He's proving you wrong right now. Ghosts don't exist.
Well, why don't he come down here and tell me?
Because you can't.
Because he can't. He's not allowed out.
Right, so
He's been grounded.
he's locked up.
Yeah.
He's in a little milk tin.
He's trying to get out of that snake cell.
Exactly.
I do reckon.
So your
he
first
was-
question: do you think he was a target?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of people seem to believe online, and some other speculations believe he was poisoned in the hospital because the amount of poison was in his body.
Okay.
So did someone sneak in, drop a couple of droplets in his mouth, and then run away? You don't know.
I reckon they put it on his food. To be fair,
Maybe.
maybe it was an ingestion.
Or maybe this kid, Gordon Whitehead, whatever his fucking name is, maybe he did know where to hit, and maybe he was told. But it's so rare.
Yeah, but it's so rare to get that one.
It's like me growing devil horns right now. No.
Well, you can't because you've had them chopped off already.
No, but it's your thoughts. Come on, address your lovely audience.
I definitely feel
Yeah.
that, obviously, due to the fact that he upset basically our whole community of spiritualists,
Everyone.
I reckon he was a target. I reckon that man somehow managed to get stuff into his food,
Also,
like a slow acting toxin.
Also, many people wanted to know how he did his tricks, and he'd never tell them because a great magician never would.
Exactly. Magician's code.
So, do you reckon it could be that as well? Because many people after this,
But maybe he upset the magic community as well.
because he was
By-
an asshole.
Just by the fact of sometimes he would actually explain how to do it.
Maybe. Or maybe he made it look easy and that pissed everyone off.
Maybe he got too big for his own good.
Maybe.
But I do reckon he ingested some I don't know, some
Daffodils.
mushroom essence or something
Witch's brew.
that obviously it would attack the area.
Gobble, gobble, toil and trouble. Frog spawn and... What one was just spawn? Frog spawn.
And there's your devil horn. Just the one.
But he did prove that there is no life after death.
It's not disproven.
Houdini proved it.
It's not disproven.
Houdini proved everyone.
No.
He did.
No.
He did.
No.
He did.
No.
He did.
Don't start this again.
He did. He did it. Even the crow said so.
Oh, Poe never lies.
So, what do you guys think? Do you think he was poisoned? Do you think that there was a deeper revenge tactic here? Or do you actually just think he died of just general appendicitis, I guess? He clung on, mate. You don't cling on like that unless it's really bad. And he would obviously work through injuries.
Mm-hmm. A high-willed person.
That magic community's got a lot to talk about.